And I'm back. So let me give it a few minutes for people to start joining. I'm hoping that people like this live. I am doing sourdough. We are on the third stretch and fold for this sourdough. This may be the last one. I may do one more, but I probably won't do that last one on the on live. But I will do the final before I put it in the refrigerator for the overnight. So I am gonna wait a few minutes. We still have a few people. Nobody's actually on yet, so I'm hoping to get some people on here. Sourdough bread is what we're doing. I am making Amy Bakes breads, beginner no need sourdough bread, and this is, I just put it on a little post-it note so we can say what's there. And this is 230 grams of starter, 400 grams of water, 600 grams of flour, and 12 grams of salt. That is the recipe that I'm using, and we have already mixed it up into a shaggy dough, let it rest for about 45 minutes, and then did a stretch and fold, rested for 45 minutes, another stretch and fold, rested for 45 minutes, and now we're on the third stretch and fold. So hopefully we get a few people in here to see what's going on. My house is cool today, around 68. So I put the dough in the oven with the light on for it to work better. The temperature of your dough does matter. I do not test the temperature of my dough, but if you are really wanting to get behind in the science of it and you want to actually perfect your bread to a baker level, a bakery level, professional level, you will be testing your dough temperature. I don't do that. Again, I am much more of a relaxed baker. I am not a rule follower. I tend to do things that make sense for me, for my style, and for things that I like. So this bread, the one that I'm doing, I've done two today. I'll talk about both of the different loaves that I've done, and I'll show you what they look like. So I'm going to pull both of them out. One's in the oven and one is on the counter. And when I say it's in the oven, it was just in the oven with the light on. It is not in the oven with the actual temperature on. So these are two different doughs. I made them together at the same time this morning. This one on the right is more of a traditional sourdough loaf. Again, Amy Bakes bread is the site I like to use. I have my own recipe website, but I consider myself new to sourdough. I've only been doing it for about a year and a half, and I haven't really done a lot in terms of putting the stuff out on my website in terms of what I've done. So I really follow a lot of her recipes, and then I make up a lot of stuff because that's what I do. I don't tend to follow the rules. I just touched my hair, so I'll go wash my hands before we do things. So this is the standard sourdough where you do stretch and folds, and then it'll rise, and then we'll put it in the refrigerator overnight, do that whole thing. So we'll talk about that. So that's what this one looks like. So this is before the third stretch and fold. You can see the texture. I don't know if you can see it. And as it falls, you can kind of see it pull apart. So I'm going to do another set of stretch and folds on this. This will be the third. I may do a fourth depending upon what it feels like. This is the unloaf. Unloaf is the recipe where you just mix it up, cover it and put it on the counter and let it go. And literally you are just letting it go. I am keeping it on the counter even though it's cool in the house. It's not cold. So I want this is kind of what a typical night would be. You can do this either mix it up before you go to bed, like around 9-10 o'clock at night, and then just cover it like I had, put it on the counter in the morning, mix it up, let it rise for about an hour, and heat up your oven and bake it. It's an amazing bread. Easy to do. You don't have to do all this messing around. You don't have to worry too much about timing. It's pretty forgiving. But this one, as you can see, it's not as shiny. It's not there. But when I show it to you later tonight when I'm going to be baking it, probably around 8 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock, I'll probably be baking this bread. It will look it'll go all the way up. This thing is gonna go all the way up to here, and it'll be bubbly and amazing. Unless something I did wrong, but I don't think so. And this is what the one that I did, it starts off very similar, but I've already done 2 sets of stretch and fold. So you can see the stretch and folds, what it does to make the bread, the dough, different. It really does change the texture. Look at the color, light. They looked very close to the same when I made these. I made these at exact, well, I made this one first and then immediately made that one after. So they're only about 15 minutes apart in terms of how they've been made. So I'm going to put this one back on the counter. That's the unloaf, and I'm going to go wash my hands because I did touch my hair. I'm very cautious about that stuff because it's just gross. So just give me a second while I wash my hands. Okay. All right, so I did not dry my hands. I washed my hands. I'm not drying it. When you're doing your stretch and folds, if your hands are wet, and I don't want them like soaking wet, but they're wet, it makes it so that the dough doesn't stick to your hands. And your dough should be like that. If it's really liquidy, I've seen a couple people doing, you know, doughs, like I saw live the other day, and she was trying to do a stretch and fold, and it was just like liquid. It didn't come apart. So watch when I'm gonna go like this. Watch when I do this. See, it's not liquid. It's solid. It is a dough. I want to go back and see whether or not hers was fine after she added flour. It probably was, but it probably wasn't. It's not going to be as amazing as, you know, if she had gotten the ratios right. Most likely something was wrong with her starter that caused it to happen, or her starter was. Now, I don't know if you were here earlier, but look how high this is going on my stretch. Earlier on my first stretch and fold, before it resisted, I was about here. My second stretch and fold, I was here, and now that's where I'm starting, and barely any resistance. So I'm probably will not need to do another stretch and fold because this is really, really nice. Look at that. And if it starts to stick, so I can see it starting to stick, just wet my hand a little bit more. I have a little bowl over here that has some water in it, but you don't have to use a bowl. You can just run it under water, under the sink. And you can see it's pulling apart from the sides. Now, after I mixed my dough, I did put it in a clean bowl because I'm not great at getting all the stuff off the sides. So stretch and fold, stretch and fold. And so I talked earlier about the different fold types. So you got stretch and fold, and then the coil fold, and I'll try it again. I'm not great with coil fold, so that's why I don't do that one. You lift it from the center, lift it up, and then fold it over. And then center, lift it up. And again, you can see I'm not very good with this one. The stretch and fold is much easier for me. So either way, you get it. So you can see now it's even stronger. Every time you do stretch and folds, it's, I don't know, you can see, it's like actually really, really strong. So this now, you can see, it's really nice. I don't know if you can see that. It's really, really nice. So I don't think I'm going to do another stretch and fold. I think I'm going to stick to 3. I'm going to put this in the oven with the light on, not with the oven on, on, and we will go. Now, be cautious, because if you have family who likes to use the oven a lot, put something, a post-it note on where, you know, you turn on the oven or you start for your oven, so nobody turns your oven on, especially with some people will put their starter in their oven and then their family will come in and preheat the oven for a pizza or something, and it will just, one, your glass can break, and 2, you just destroy your starter. As soon as it gets up to probably over 110 degrees, you're probably killing your starter. So just be cautious with that, but I'm the only one that's cooking in here, so I don't really worry about it, and I know what I'm doing with this, but be cautious with it. So again, use the water's your friend with sourdough. I hope you guys are enjoying this. The sourdough journey is for me it's all an adventure. It's not about exact science. It can be. I mean, there is definitely an exact science to it, but for me, and the way I cook and bake, I am more of a do it with how my heart feels and what my fingers feel and what I'm seeing and smelling. So that's generally how I bake. Having, you know, I learned the recipes first, and now I'm making up my own recipes. I have a sandwich bread that I like. I'll be posting that one. I've actually posted, I believe, the recipe on TikTok in the description of you'll go back, you'll see it's in the description on a couple of my videos that I've taken videos of the actual finished product. And I just think if you're interested in sourdough, get interested, go do it. Don't worry about being perfect. Perfection is not the key here. The key here is enjoying and loving the process and eating the bread. The bread, I have made so many different kinds of bread, and it's just me and my husband, and sometimes one of my best friends that is here eating it. Once in a while, my son and his friends and girlfriend are here, but we can't eat a whole loaf. So I'm always giving my next door neighbor, one of my best friends, bread, and she's just like, every loaf is different. I go, I know. I can't do the same thing twice. It's just the ADHD in me. I gotta go. So I am going to continue with the sourdough series. I call it my sourdough adventures, or adventures in sourdough. I haven't figured it out yet, but I think you'll enjoy it. So this is the recipe that I'm working with. Starter 230 grams, water 400 grams, flour 600 grams, and salt 12 grams. The unloaf that I did earlier, this is unfed starter. So this is the traditional using starter that rose, and this one is using unfed starter. So meaning the starter was used and then it started to fall. I put it in the refrigerator and let it sit in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. Used it straight from the fridge, added 400 grams of water, and then mixed in 650 grams of flour and 15 grams of salt. I like it a little bit saltier. My husband likes it a lot saltier, so I kind of base that. So that's what this one is. And all I do is mix in the water, get it all ready, and then put the flour in the bowl, put the salt on top. I use a fork to mix the salt into the flour before I mix it all together. Mix it all together until it comes together, and it's still considered a shaggy dough. My earlier live, I showed what a shaggy dough was. I'll probably do a video on, I'll take one of those clips and turn it into, I'm trying not to touch my face, turn it into a video so that you can see what shaggy dough looks like. And essentially, you're not kneading the dough. So a lot of people going from a regular yeast bread, you're used to working with it at first. Like you're used to that initial stage, you have to work with it. Sourdough's a little different. You want to let the flour and the starter and the water all kind of get happy and combined before you start working with it. And in terms of this style of sourdough. So just remember, it's not the same, and it's okay. But if you do want to do things like knead it, and you want to have it, and you want it to be more like rolls or sandwich breads, you can. There are different methods of doing that. It will be different, and that's okay. That's what you're looking for. Like I have my sandwich bread. In my sandwich bread, I add milk, I add either olive oil or butter. I do a little bit more work with it, and it's just different. And I'm doing that on purpose because I want it to taste like sandwich bread. So anyways, I hope you guys are liking this. As always, thank you. And when you're on your lives, not just for me, but for any creator, if you're enjoying the live, tap, 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 tap on that screen to give those loves. That tells TikTok that this live is good and that you like what you're seeing. If you don't like it, don't worry. I don't really care. I'm doing this for me. This is my thing. I hope you guys enjoy it along with me. And I hope you have fun with some sourdough. If you have things that you want me to cover, like you're confused or you don't know where to start, go into my page. Obviously, follow me, but go into my page and look at some of my sourdough. Just take one of my sourdough posts and comment what you would like to see, and tell me if you'd like it to be in a live, if you'd like it to be just in a post. And I will pay attention to those and try to kind of gear my next set of things to that. So today's is really just about comparing these two loaves, learning how to do it, kind of getting you guys used to the idea of what to do. I'll have several posts about starter and things like that. And then just, once I get these two set up for you, I'll probably do these whenever I make bread. Essentially, I'm going to try to do a live, but I'll show the different types of breads that I make, and I just whatever I feel like it. But my husband's favorite right now is the sandwich loaf, because it's very little sourdough flavor in it, and which he likes sourdough, but it's just very little sourdough flavor. It slices nice, great for sandwiches, amazing for grilled cheese. If you used to like the Sizzler cheese bread, oh God, do you like the Sizzler cheese bread? Oh God, that was so good. We make that. You make a thick slice of it, and then you put some butter and Parmesan cheese, and you just lay it flat on the griddle like this, on a standard griddle, and just let it get crispy. Don't flip it, and that's how you do the Sizzler bread, which I loved that bread. Have not had that aside from when we make it. I've not been to Sizzler in probably 10 years or more. So, okay, I think this is it. I really appreciate everybody that's here. It looks like I've got a lot of people. I can't tell how many people are in the live. I need to learn how to do this. So I really appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me in my sourdough adventure. I will be back in about 3 to 4 hours when we will see what this looks like, and we will shape it and get it ready for the refrigerator. So this is what it looks like now. I'm going to show you one more chance to see it. You can see it. That's what it looks like. It's a little bit, it really hasn't risen much. It's mostly just been strengthened. So it should go to about here. And it might take some time, so we'll see. If it takes more time, it takes more time, and that's okay. The worst thing you can do is actually not give it the time to rise, or really the other thing that a lot of times is if you really let it go over, meaning you let it rise and rise and rise and rise and rise, and you forget about it for hours and hours. The solution to that one is you bake it and hope for the best. A lot of times what will happen is it will rise, and then as it cools it'll flatten, and that's when you get some of that dense stuff, or it feels like it's not, like just the texture is off. Turn it into focaccia. So oil your glass pan. I use a glass pan. Oil your glass pan, kind of pour it out into the pan, kind of let it settle for about 45 minutes to an hour, poke it, throw on some olive oil, some garlic, some rosemary, sun-dried tomatoes, whatever you like. You can even put pizza sauce on it. You can turn it into pizza dough at that point. You can do different things, but you can do that and then make it a sourdough focaccia out of it, and eat it within a day or two, because it'll be beautiful when it first comes out of the oven. If it's being done with an overproofed dough, it won't last. That focaccia won't last. So you'll just have to eat it in a day or two. If you're making a traditional focaccia that has the olive oil in the dough, it will last a lot longer because you designed it to be focaccia. Oops, I'm gonna just make it focaccia. That one doesn't last as long, but it's a great way to use it and to not waste your dough that you just spent all those hours on and then forgot about. So thank you again. Tap, 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 tap. If you guys like your lives, those help the creators who are doing the lives. And when I'm on there, I'm just like, and then it starts blowing up. It does help them. Just remember that, and try to just be nice and thank you. I appreciate everybody watching, and I hope you enjoy your sourdough adventure. And again, let me know what you're looking for, and I will try to help you out. And I'm not an expert, but I am one who's making breads all the time now and loving it. So, and people are loving eating it. So that is for me the key. So see you in a couple hours.